Well, what's going on YouTube? Bear here is Bear's Mix. Welcome to my channel.
Welcome back. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Well, what's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? It is I wanted to do this video a month ago, but I decided to wait a little bit longer. Today, tomorrow I will receive my 8th paycheck, so I have been here now 8 weeks, going on 9. This last week, today is Thursday, I've only had one load all week. Now I'm stuck down here in Dallas, Texas. But I'll get into that here in a few minutes. But the numbers are in, the receipts are right here. I know it's too bright out, so the page is whitewashing the screen. But I'm going to give you the rundown of my paychecks. I get paid weekly, and I mean very weekly. I'm going to give you the breakdown of my truck payments and all the other stuff I got to pay. I'm going to talk about a couple different things here. Whether I would recommend RTI or Riverside Transportation to somebody else for a lease program. I'm going to talk about a new bill that was just introduced in Congress by a Democratic congressman from Washington, D.C. And it's probably one of the first times I'm actually backing a bill introduced by a Democrat. Wow, hell must have just froze over. I'm going to talk about something else the FMCSA is doing. I actually talked about this a while back. Everybody said I was stupid, I was an idiot, I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, that I outright called a liar to my face over it. And well, what I talked about in that video a while back is finally coming to fruition, and it goes into effect November 18th of this year. And I find it kind of odd that they just did the road check 2024 last week, which I survived. Once again, I made it completely through the inspection process, through the inspection period, without getting inspected. It's been probably 5 years since I've had an inspection. Now, one of the things they were focusing on during this last road check week was drugs and alcohol. Now, I said before when I was talking about the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse that they were going to use it to kick people off, to screw people out of their CDLs. And I was right. I was told I didn't know what I was talking about. Well, CDL Life just did an article on it recently. And as of the time of the article, this was before the last road check, whether focusing on drugs and alcohol, 168,318 drivers would be affected beginning November 18 of this year. That's 168,318 drivers that will have their licenses downgraded, which means they won't be able to drive anymore. They're going to lose their livelihood. Their licenses are going to be reduced to a regular operator's license, so they can't drive anything more than a car, than a personal vehicle. Car, pickup truck, SUV, what have you, but nothing in a commercial capacity, nothing where they can make money. Anybody that hasn't completed the SAP program, the Substance and Abuse Program, before November 18th, and to complete the program, you might have gone through all the steps already and didn't realize there's one more step you have to do. You need to get cleared by the FMCSA Medical Review Board, authorizing you to return to active duty status so you can start driving again. It takes over a year to complete this program. There's a year's worth of random drug and alcohol testing. You have to go through substance abuse counseling, get medically cleared by your doctor, then you have to be cleared to return to service by the FMCSA. Anybody that hasn't got that done by November of this year will lose their licenses. Now, that's only 6 months away. They just did road check 2024 and anybody that is just caught in that related to drugs and alcohol will lose their CDLs come November 18th because, well, they would not have been able to complete the SAP program in time. That's why I see more and more companies are saying no SAP hires. There were companies out there that would hire an SAP hire, but nope, no longer. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Sucks to be you. Uh, I mean, they don't care. Like last year, they had it going where they told every state had to go through their DMV driving history. Anybody that has ever had a DUI or DWI, narcotics or alcohol, in their driving history where they've lost their driver's license over it, they need to report that to the Federal Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse to go towards putting together a database of licenses that they're going to order, or CDLs rather, they're going to order downgraded. That they've already had their time to do that. They should have all reported back to the FMCSA by now and to the clearinghouse. Now, it doesn't matter if you had your DUI 30 years ago and you got your license 5 years ago. If you had a DUI, this will affect you negatively. And that's not right, in my opinion. And it's what happens when we got regulators who don't even know how to spell big rig, trying to make regulations related to big rigs. Another bill that just came up, it was just introduced yesterday, so I don't have the text of it yet. I've been looking for it. I've spent all day scouring the U.S. Congress website looking for the text of the bill. It's not there yet, but there is a congresswoman from Washington, D.C., just entered a bill, the Household Good and Consumer Protection Act of 2024, which not only affects household good carriers, it affects everybody. Brokers and carriers, shippers, receivers, whether you're doing HHG or not, it affects the entire industry. OOIDA is on board with this, TIA is on board with this, and I love seeing that. Now, basically, back during the IIJA, the Interstate Infrastructure and Jobs Act, there was a provision in there that does away with dispatchers, independent dispatchers, that are acting as freight brokers. It was a $10,000 fine. Well, some administrative judge from the FMCSA turned around and says, well, the FMCSA doesn't have the authority to regulate these guys and fine them. So there's been no enforcement on it, much to my chagrin. And I turn in dispatchers all the time for acting as unauthorized brokers. They're doing this now to target all the double, triple, and quadruple brokering going on out there. It's a $10,000 fine for each occurrence. Anybody that does not have broker authority that's operating for more than one MC number will be fined $10,000 for each and every load they booked and for each and every carrier they book loads for. Now keep in mind, a independent dispatcher operates under the bona fide agent rule, which basically says they can act as a bona fide agent for one carrier only. Their only job is to receive load tenders on behalf of the carrier and provide it to the carrier or their driver when they're ready to be dispatched on it. That's it. They're not allowed to take payments. They're not allowed to factor any of that stuff. When it comes down to broker authority, now because of some of these dispatchers, a lot more shippers are demanding that brokers who are not legally liable or responsible for the load, that is responsibility of the carrier that picks the load up. Our responsibility is simply to pick up the load. I'd rather not pick up the load, but get somebody that is legitimate and has a good reputation and a good record to pick up that load and deliver it. Once it's on the carrier's truck, it's not really our responsibility, other than monitoring to make sure it gets delivered properly, safely, and in a timely manner. And we're not responsible for any losses or damages. Some of the liberal courts out there, because of so many independent dispatchers, especially the ones, there's so many popped up since COVID for work for home scams. There's people out there still teaching classes online. How to be a freight dispatcher and make thousands of dollars a day. Um, Charging people hundreds or even thousands of dollars to take a course, teach them how to lie and trick their way into getting loads from multiple shippers, multiple carriers. They're using one carrier's MC number to book loads for another carrier. Yeah, can't do that, guys. That's illegal. A broker is able to negotiate loads, book loads, solicit carriers, factor loads, post to load boards, pull from load boards, which gets a little tricky because that's where you end up running into double brokering. They can factor loads, they can collect payments on behalf of the carrier and then pay the carrier out. They can negotiate rates. A dispatch service can do none of that. Yet I see more and more drivers out there are blaming brokers for low freight. Well, number one, blame this administration. They're the one that's destroying this industry. They're destroying the country and the economy altogether. No BS there. Blame the dispatchers out there. Now, we have to carry as a broker. I got to carry not only my $75,000 liability bond that I have to post, my BMC 84, with the FMCSA. More and more shippers, especially the mega shippers, want us to have contingent cargo insurance in case we accidentally hire a carrier who turns out to be fraudulent and something happens. There was a woman out of down here in Texas. Just sad what happened to her. She didn't take the time to set up an LLC. She'd been running a brokerage under her own name. She'd been running as a sole proprietorship. She was married, lived in a huge house worth nearly $1 million. She had kids, husband, great job. I mean, they were great people, great family. I miss her. She was a good friend. She started doing the brokering thing, and she didn't think it was necessary to get an LLC or an incorporation status right away. She was just running it on her name. She'd been doing it for about 2 or 3 years. When during COVID, she turned around and got hired a hotshot. He provided her with all of the records, MC registration, all that, insurance, everything. She hired him based on the paperwork he presented instead of taking the time to do her due diligence. In the end, she hired this guy, gave him same day payment option immediately from day one, which was a big mistake to begin with. Sorry, carriers. And this right here is the reason why I'm saying sorry, carriers. This guy, she hired him to move some oil field equipment down here around the Permian Basin, which is like Arizona, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Texas. Moving equipment around for the oil fields. It was supposedly a team operation, which you don't see too often in a hotshot. They would go pick up the load. A day or two later, they would send her the invoice and a signed bill of lading. Said, okay, we delivered, this is what you owe us. And she paid it that night or the next day. Gave them another load, did the same thing. Third load, they did the same thing. In the middle of the third load, she starts getting calls from the first well site. Hey, where's our equipment at? We need it. We need that bad on this string. She's like, oh, hold on a minute. She goes, let me look into it. She pulls up, she goes, oh, no, that was delivered a couple days ago. No, it wasn't. Well, yeah, I mean, I got the signed bill of lading right here that it was received. And now, something that does happen is, okay, they assume that maybe he made a mistake and delivered it to the wrong well site. You can be going down a haul road. I know I used to work in Permian Basin. I used to haul production water and frac sand and cement. You can be running down the haul road, come up to a wellhead, pull into it, and if you're being smart and paying attention to what's going on, you might be at the wrong well site. So you're going to come back out and go up the road a little bit further, especially when they're running strings, when multiple well sites in a row. Sometimes equipment does go to the wrong place, and it's your responsibility to move it to the right place. So she got a hold of him. Said, hey, I got a call here from this well site. You were supposed to deliver some equipment to them. They said they didn't get it. You got my bill of lading here. They don't recognize the name that's on the signed on the bill of lading that they received it. Did you take it to the right place? I think so. Please check. You're going back through that way on this route. Please check. We got to make sure these get to the right place, because now they're calling up complaining that they haven't got their equipment that I thought was delivered 3 days ago. He's like, oh man, I'll check on that. I'll double check with it and get back to you as soon as I can. Meantime, that evening, she receives the invoice and a signed bill of lading for the load he was on. He's like, okay, here, I got this delivered early, so I'm going to go over to that other well site, see if I can't find the equipment. I remember where I dropped it off. I'm going to go over there and make sure it wasn't the wrong spot, and I'll let you know. She's like, okay. Next day, she gets a phone call from the well site. Hey, any luck on finding our missing equipment? She said, let me try and get a hold of him. He's out there right now looking for it. She calls him up. He laughs and hangs up on her. Every time she calls him back, he wouldn't answer the phone. She's straight to voicemail, straight to voicemail, straight to voicemail. Emails weren't being answered. So she's going nuts trying to find out what's going on. Now she found out the second load, and the third load never got delivered. She's paid this guy like $40,000 to carry these loads, millions of dollars worth of equipment, never showed up, doesn't know where it is. Can't get a hold of him, all of a sudden his phone's disconnected. Emails are starting to bounce back. So she's getting worried. She calls his insurance company up. The insurance company goes, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't haul that kind of freight. We don't do that stuff. So she jumps on the FMCSA Safe website, looks up the information, what she should have done in the first place, finds them based out of, I believe it was Chicago, calls them up there, and they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. We've gotten a few calls like this. Somebody has basically did identity theft with our company, with our business. They've been out there pulling loads for people that, using our information, they pulled it off the internet. We don't do hot shot, we don't do flatbed, we don't do any of that stuff. We are a linen company. We supply linens to the tri-state area. Tablecloths, bedding for hotels, restaurants, stuff like that. We don't do interstate commerce, and we don't do any type of equipment. We just do linens, laundry, that's it. So now she's in trouble. She ends up getting sued by the shipper and the receiver for millions of dollars, which she didn't have. She was not a LLC or a corporation, so she was personally responsible for that money, had to pay it all back to these businesses. She lost her business. Her husband left her. They seized the house, seized the motorcycles, the cars, seized everything they had to sell off to pay these bills. Husband took the kids and left. She ended up literally homeless and decided to opt out of life. She joined the 22. I mean, some of these scam artists, I'm trying to, I'm not going to say what I want to say because I don't want to get this channel demonetized or this video demonetized. But you know where I'm going with this, I'm sure. That's right there is a prime example of why this bill is so important. We got to shut down these guys out there. They're running around, they're trying to act like they're brokers. They're convincing the shippers and the receivers that they're brokers, using the carriers' MC numbers. They're posting loads to load boards, taking loads off load boards. They're factoring loads. They're getting the shippers to pay them, and then they're supposed to pay the carrier. Sometimes they're not paying the carrier at all. They're underpaying. They don't have any of the insurance or any of the overhead or any of the expenses that brokers have. Yet they're charging 30-40% of the load, plus every little thing. They're trying to add extra money to it, the charge. They are just ripping people off. Plain and simple. They're thieves, they're crooks, they're scumbags. They need to go. Every last one of them. That's me talking. Anyways, let's get back over here to RTI, Riverside Transportation Incorporated. Why you guys are here. You want to see the receipts. You want to know what's going on. Well, right now I'm stuck here in Texas. Now, they've gone back on their word about when I needed to transfer my license over. They know my license. I'm still legally a resident of Alaska. I haven't got a place down here in Dallas yet. I am over to the Dallas area. I was trying to move my freight brokerage down here ahead of time. That went pear-shaped on me because I couldn't get a incorporated under my business name, same name I use in Alaska. Somebody else down here has a similar name, so I couldn't form my LLC or do S Corp, C Corp, any of that stuff. So the FMCSA said, well, we're going to revoke your operating authority. You can no longer broker loads. Yeah, so they took my authority away from me because I couldn't get my name, same business name down here. Now I have to go through the whole process from the beginning, new registration, new MC number, new DOT number, all that crap. Pay the fees all over again and start from scratch. The last 3.5 years, I've basically been aging my company, ready to ink those contracts with the DLA and AFES to start moving military freight. Spent all this time buying stuff that I really don't need just to build up the business credit and donating it to schools. I was buying like all office type supplies, pens, pencils, notepads, erasers, just small purchases here and there every month just to build up my business credit. And I got an excellent business credit rating. And now, all for naught, all gone. Just gone to the wayside. The thousands of dollars I've spent in licensing and keeping up with everything, like SCAC registration, the UCR registration, annual business licenses, registered agents, insurance, all that I've been paying for nothing now. All completely gone. And nothing I can do to recover it. But anyways, back over here to RTI, rather, not RCI. A lot of issues here. When I came over, the agreement was at the end of the summer, when I make the move down, I will transfer my license over at that time. Here in Texas, you got 90 days to transfer your license over. They decided they're not going to honor that. Last month, they gave me loads down here, didn't tell me what was going on. Just gave me some loads down here, which is cool. I haven't been to Texas in a while. Get down here to Waco to pick up a load. I had a stop in Fort Stockton, a second stop in Pecos. Then I had a dunnage load to pick up in Pecos, bring up here to Dallas, and then I had a load here from Dallas to Bangor, Maine, which was a great run, a rare run for them. They got it out of a broker, an actual broker, not a dispatcher. I'm leaving the shipper with the load. I get a phone call. Have you left with that load yet? Well, I'm pulling out the gate right now. Well, no, go put it back and have somebody else take it. It looks like it's going to be late. No, it's not going to be late. I mean, I'll get it there. I mean, I'm only running a few minutes behind schedule right now. Once I get on the road, I'll be able to make that up. No, we can't risk it. It's a white glove load. It has to be on time. We can't risk it. Drop it off back in the yard. We're going to send somebody else to pick it up. There's a truck stop up the street. Head over there. We'll get back to you in a little while with another load. Great. So I go drop my trailer off, go in, explain to the shipper what's going on. Now the shipping clerk, she's all pissed off. I go to leave. I can't leave with my empty trailer because it's checked in. I said, no. You just can't come in here and take a trailer out anytime you want. I'm like, dude, I came in with this trailer. The load that I was here to pick up just got canceled. I'm leaving with my trailer. I need it for my next load. I had to call the office. The office had to approve me leaving with it. I had to go into the office myself, talk to them. Then the office had to call down and approve me leaving with the trailer that I brought in. Because I didn't have a load to take out, so I'm not going to bobtail out. I want to go somewhere and look for another trailer. When I got the trailer right there, I just brought in. Go to the truck stop, sit there for hours. Got anything yet? Nope. Got anything yet? Nope. Got anything yet? Nope. Come on, there's got to be something there at the shipper I just left. I mean, that's our largest client. You keep sending everybody to them, the trucks to them from all over the country, deadheading them in there a couple 100 miles at a deadhead just to go there so they can pick up and move loads. Oh, we don't have anything. We don't have anything. Finally, run out of hours, go to sleep. 2:30 in the morning, my phone starts blowing up. Answer the phone. Hey, we need you to do a load. Okay, what? Driver's running late. He just pulled into the truck stop you're at. He's already disconnected. He's in the corner waiting for you. Go pick up his trailer and go complete the load so it's not late. It's a white glove load. Oh, really? Like the load you just took away from me that you were afraid was going to be late? Okay, no problem. Go over, spend 20 minutes searching a lot for him, middle of the night, can't find him anywhere. I'm looking for one of our trailers with the tractor disconnected from it. Don't see it anywhere. So I give him a call back. Hey, I need the driver. I need the truck number. I don't know what I'm looking for. I can't find this guy disconnected here. You sure he's not one of the other truck stops around here? No, he's there. We'll get back to you in a minute with this truck number. 20 minutes goes by. Finally get a text message. Okay, here's the truck number and the trailer number you're looking for. Drive around again, finally find him in the corner of the reserves parking, backed up to the trailer, dolly's not down, line's not disconnected, his curtains are closed, and his APU is running. I go over, knock on the door, wait a couple seconds, oh shit, he's sleeping. Knock on the door again. Go away, I'm not interested. I yell out, hey man, it's RTI. I'm an RTI driver. What? I said, I'm an RTI driver. He's what? He opens up the curtain, looks out, sees my truck sitting in front of his, comes out and goes, what's up, man? Why are you waking me? What's wrong? I'm like, well, didn't you know I was coming? He's like, no. What are you talking about? I said, well, they sent me over to pick up your load. Oh, you got the wrong load. You got the wrong truck, dude. I'm like, no, right here, your truck number, that trailer number, this load going out here to Van Ormsby. He's like, what the hell's going on? I said, they called me up and said you were running late and they wanted to pick it up. He's like, I'm not running late. I'm going to be on time. I don't give him a call. So he calls over to 24/7, which is what they call their after-hours, weekend, and holiday dispatch. Calls over, talks to them. They tell him he's got to give up the load, that they'd have another one for him in the morning. So reluctantly, he gives up the load. We change numbers so we can stay in touch. And I took off and go. Load was due there at 6 a.m. I got there at 7:30 a.m. and realized, because it was a store delivery, so the delivery window was from 6 a.m. to noon. I got there at 7:30 a.m., so I was actually there on time. He would have been there on time. He had already been shut down for, I think he said 7.5, 8 hours. So he would have made it there on time anyways. He would have been closer to noon, but he would have made it on time. We stay in touch. I have his number. He's got mine. I collect numbers from all the drivers when I run into him, whatever I can. He turns around when I talk to him the next day. He's like, man, this is BS. I'm out of here. I'm so done with this company. I'm like, why? What's going on? He goes, you know that load? Yeah. Well, I was in reserve parking when you came over. I said, yeah. He goes, I paid for that parking space. It's $35. I'm like, what? $35 for parking? He goes, yeah. Well, when you pulled out, I went over, grabbed your trailer. You pulled out, and I was going to try and back into the spot that I paid for. As I came around the corner, another driver was pulling in. I tried stopping him and say, hey, man, that's my spot. Here's my receipt. I paid for that spot. I just had to go swap trailers with somebody real quick. He said dude ignored him and backed into the spot anyways. He went in and talked to the manager. Manager of the truck stop said, well, it's not what we can do. It's not our policy. It's our policy not to knock on doors and tell drivers they got to move, whether they paid or not. Well, can I get a refund? Nope. So the company, you need to reimburse me for this? Nope. He ended up having to park illegally because he tried to get back around to where my trailer was, where I was parked at, and take that spot back. Somebody else had already taken it. He wound up having to park on the side, got a $250 fire lane violation. Will the company help him with it? Nope. Will they reimburse him? Nope. It was their reason that he lost his spot and got this ticket. So now he's out for $35 for the paid parking that he got screwed out of, and he's out $250 for that parking ticket he got. Not his fault. Not his fault. Not his fault at all. So I get that load delivered the next day. About 2 hours later, I turn all my receipts and paperwork in. I take pictures of it with the phone, send it into the building right then and there. Usually as I'm sitting on the dock, or just outside the dock on the gate when I'm doing my paperwork. I get a phone call from billing. Why were you late? I wasn't late. Yeah, you were. Load was due at 6. You got there at 7:30. You need to have a good excuse. Don't need an excuse. I was time. She says, no, you weren't. You were due there at 6 a.m. I said, no, look at the dispatch. Early arrival time, 6 a.m. Late arrival time, noon. I was there at 7:30. I was well within this 6-hour window. You were late. This is going to count against you. It better not count against me. If it counts against me, I'm losing 5 cents a mile for a good 30 days. I'll explain that scam later, too. We got into a heated argument, and I just hung up on her. So whatever, and hung up on her. Not even 10 minutes later, I get a call from my dispatcher, my DM, that lazy bones that he is. Dude, why are you yelling and arguing with the billing department? I'm like, dude, I wasn't arguing and yelling at her. She tried to tell me my load was late. It was not late. Look at the dispatch on it. He goes, yeah, well, they're telling me it was late. I said, look at the dispatch on it. 6 a.m. to noon. I got there at 7:30 a.m. How is that late? Especially when they woke me up at 2:30 in the morning to take this away from a driver who didn't know I was coming, even though they said I was coming. I had to wake this poor guy up and cost him a bunch of aggravation and grief and money over it. He lost his money for the rest of the trip. He's got to pay out the parking ticket, and he lost his money on the reserved parking. My DM's looking at it. I said, what the hell are you talking about? Why are they saying you're late? You're right. This is a 6-hour window. You weren't late on that. I'll get you taken care of this. Don't worry. I'll fix this for you. Yeah, right. I'm not. Nope. Not going to do it. Not going to hold my breath. Not for you. Not for anybody at this company. I've been lied to too many times. I've been screwed out of money too many times. The load that I had before that cost me to be running a few minutes late, 9-hour delay. Got to the shipper to pick up. Oh, that load's not ready yet. We had a machine go down last night. It's going to be a couple hours. Give me your cell phone number. We'll give you a call when it's ready. 9 hours later, I get a phone call. Okay, your load's ready. Come get it. Did everything I'm supposed to do. Kept checking in with dispatch, checking in with them every hour. They got tired of hearing from me. I get in there, pick the load up, send in my detention request, then I get an email. I get a message back within a few minutes. Detention request declined, denied. We do not pay detention pay. Excuse me? It's in my contract. Breakdown, layover, detention. Oh, we don't pay it. Really? So they screwed me out of $525 there. Not the only time they screwed me out of money, now mind you. That's one of my problems with them. They promise you accessorial pay and then refuse to pay it. They record all of the phone calls with the drivers. If something comes up, if there's a dispute, they go back, they listen to the recording, and if it proves them right, they'll tell the driver, oh, you were wrong, you lied. That's not what you were told, or you misunderstood. Sorry, we can't help you. But when you have them on recording telling them they're going to do one thing or another for you, they don't have the time to go back and listen to the audio to prove them wrong, especially when it's going to cost them money and they got to give you money out of it. And I've had that happen a couple times where they've refused to go back and listen to the recording. Oh, we don't have time, or we can't get it, we can't find it. What do you mean you can't get it, you can't find it? Here's the exact date and time, because I note it down. When I have those conversations, I make notes. Date and time, and the substance of the conversation. So yeah, I'm done with them. Couple issues with the contract. One of them is still trying to confirm whether it's legal now or not. I know 5 years ago when I drove for Western Flyer Express, I found out this was illegal, and they had to take it out of my contract. I don't know if something has changed with this administration. Who the hell knows? But you cannot charge excess miles on commercial vehicles. You can on passenger vehicles. They cannot charge excess miles on commercial vehicles. They got a thing here in the contract, which they don't tell you about. You find it after they rush you through it to sign it, get you out the door. A lot of stuff in there that I wish I had paid more attention to. I had more time to read the contract. This was one of them. If you do more than 13,000 miles in a month, which is a solo, you're not going to do that here. On a month with 4 weeks in it, maybe in a month with 5, you might, but you're not going to. My average mileage here is under 2,000 miles. Between 1,800 and 2,000 miles is my average week. Average length of a load is about 300 or 400 miles. I've had very few loads over 500 miles. Last couple of weeks I've been sitting around a lot, almost a full day to make a pickup or delivery because they're doing the scheduling. And I haul ass. I go from point A to point B, get unloaded, and get going again. So yeah, if you get 13,000 miles in a month. Now that's paid dispatch miles, empty and loaded miles. That's not your odometer miles. They use PC Miler, which basically maps from the city hall of where you're picking up at to the city hall of where you're dropping off at, and that can lead to $100 or more miles each end difference on your odometer. Your ELD records your mileage every time you start or shut the truck off, anything like that. Your mileage is recorded, and they see your actual hub miles, your odometer miles, which is not how they pay you. They pay you by that PC Miler. Because so many drivers out there a while back realized that, oh, hey, I'm getting paid practical miles, so I can take the long way and make more money. So companies don't pay practical miles anymore. So say you ran 13,001 miles for the month. You actually got it. Woo, good for you. But is it? Then they turn around the beginning of the next month, your check's $1,500 light. Why am I negative $1,200 when I should have a $1,500 check? Well, your check was only $300 and you owe us $1,500 for excess miles. What the hell are you talking about? Well, you drove 15,000 miles last month, but my paid miles, my dispatch miles was only 13,001 miles. Yeah, but your actual driven miles, your odometer miles, is what we charge you for when we do excess miles. You went over 13,000 miles for the month, so now you got to pay 10 cents a mile for every mile you drove for that month. Wait, what? Yeah. Then there's a way they do their fuel purchases. Now keep in mind, unlike any other company, any company I've ever worked for, no matter if it was flipping burgers, pumping gas, or driving truck, My work week started usually on a Monday and ended on a Sunday. Sometimes it started on a Saturday, ended on a Friday. Not here. They start their work week out in the middle of the week. 12 a.m. Wednesday morning, midnight Wednesday morning. Work week starts. The week work. Wow. The work week starts. Ends at 23:59 hours on Tuesday evening, or 11:59 p.m. for those that can't tell time. If you're on a dispatch, you're on your way to pick it up. Say you make your last delivery Tuesday evening. Now you're at the end of that week. New week starts Wednesday. You got a new dispatch comes out Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. You got to drive 200 miles to Deadhead to pick up the load. You've got an eighth of a tank of fuel. You got to stop and get fuel to get there to pick up the load. Especially if you get to some of these places where the driver must have X amount of fuel, must have half a tank of fuel, 3/4 of a tank of fuel. I've seen places say you have to have full fuel because they scale you when they come in and they put as much freight as they can on you. You got to stop and get fuel on your way there. When do you think you would pay for that fuel purchase? You would think what I thought. That, okay, I'm buying fuel, it's a new work week, I've got a new trip number that's starting on the new work week. So when I get paid next week for this load, that's what I'm going to pay for my fuel. Nope, not here. If you have not picked the load up yet, if you're on your way to the load to pick up and it's not in your box, they roll it back to the last load you did on Tuesday and they attach it to that load. So now your paycheck's short. Now your paycheck's negative in some cases. I found out about this on my second week here, and I'll tell you how bad that went when I go over my weekly pays. Another thing they got going on over here is if you leave within the first 12 weeks, this is not a walkaway lease no matter what they tell you. You leave in the first 12 weeks, $5,500 cancellation fee they charge you. 12 weeks and 1 day, so like your 91st day, all the way to the end of the lease. Even when your lease expires, say my lease expired today and I leave next week, I'm already a week into expiration of my lease and decide to leave, I don't want to keep the truck, they charge me $1,400 cancellation fee, even though the lease is expired. If I want to keep the truck, there is a balloon payment, an outrageous balloon payment, an unreasonable balloon payment, $83,000. $83,000. Let that sink in. What are balloon payments and why are more and more lease companies doing it? Because they're realizing that is the truck's equity. That's what the truck might be worth. I thought this truck would be worth that then, especially with the miles it'll have by then. And I've already paid $116,000 into the truck. Now they want another $83,000 from me. They want over $200,000 for a truck that's only worth maybe $100,000 right now. Never mind at the end of the lease. But yeah, they charge an $83,000 balloon payment, and all the balloon payment is a way for them to extract any equity and value left out of the truck, leave you empty, leave you with nothing. And then they turn around and tell you, well, the truck's got too many miles, you can get another truck. We'll lease you another truck, that one's got too many miles. You can't run that with us anymore. Great. And they try and get you into another lease. Like I like to call it here, the Fleece Purchase Program. What are some of the other issues that got going on here, things that piss me off? Well, they don't talk to you. My DM there for a while was ghosting me. Every time I called, straight to voicemail, straight to voicemail, straight to voicemail. Didn't even ring, straight to voicemail. No matter what time of day or night. I call on the weekend trying to get a hold of weekend dispatch, straight to voicemail. So he had me blocked on incoming calls. He didn't realize it affected when I was trying to call on it 24/7. I called him on it. Oh, I must have been on lunch then. No, dude. No. Anytime I called, even on the weekends and after hours, when you weren't there, I go straight to voicemail. Don't even ring once. When it rings like 3 or 4 times, then he sends me the voicemail. We do most of our communications through text, which is even better because it's in writing. My DM, part of the DM's job, dispatch manager's job, is to be the intermediary between you, the driver, and the other divisions of the company. Planning, safety, compliance, payroll, what have you. I need something, or I need an answer to a question or something, I ask him. He tells me, well, don't ask me that. Call him yourselves and ask him. I'm not getting in the middle. I don't want that responsibility. That's part of your job, dude. I'm not doing it. Fine. So I call him up. Well, why are you calling me direct? Why aren't you calling your DM? I did. He told me to call you. He don't want to get in the middle of. Oh, your DM so and so. Yep. Okay. What is it? What do you want? And I go through it with them. And they're getting aggravated with him over it, but nobody will do anything about it. Sitting here watching these guys using ether to try and start a tractor trailer. Oh, she's got her hand all the way in the air intake box. They pulled out the filters and she's spraying the air intake. The truck's running. Why are you still spraying? I want to see this thing blow up in her face so bad. I know, that's not right. Anyways, yeah, so that's what's going on. That's some of the stuff that's going on. Some of the things I don't like, some of the things that are kind of aggravating. They put stuff in your contract they don't tell you about. You get surprised by it later on. I got in this truck, I had 118,487 miles on it. Right now it's got 140,000 and change. So in 2 months I've driven, what, 118 to 140, 20 some thousand miles? A little over. But I'm not making any money. Not getting any runs. Do a lot of time sitting. And as right now, I'm sitting and sweating because I can't run my truck because there's electrical interference. When I got the phone charging, trying to do videos, there's a lot of electrical interference, so you can't hear me even with the headset. And it's aggravating. This truck has some issues, and I'm going to be turning it in. And in fact, tomorrow, if they don't get me rolling tomorrow, if I have to, I'll take the money out of my pocket and fill this tank up, and I'll drive it straight back to freaking Kansas City and turn it in this weekend. Bobtail. Screw 'em. Now, the way the pay works on this, the way the pay breaks down is base pay is $1.12 a mile. I have 5 cents a mile for on-time pickup and deliveries, and a 5 cents a mile bonus for safety. So it's $1.22 is my starting pay plus fuel surcharge, which is right now 36 cents a mile. No, 37 cents a mile. So I'm getting like $1.58 a mile right now. When I started doing this 2 months ago, I was getting $1.64 a mile. They will not tell you what the formula is and how they calculate the FSC for the week. And it's a lot lower than it should be. What they're paying is a lot lower than they should be paying. They say they give you 100%. Bull. Either they're lying or they don't know how to do math. They don't have the proper formula. And it's obviously they don't know how to do math, and I'll show that here in a little bit. So every week, well, right now I'm getting $1.58 a mile. Every Wednesday morning I start owing the company $1,324.98. May as well say $1,325. For most of these numbers, I'm just going to give you the rounded off numbers when I go over my actual last 8 paychecks. But for now, I'm going to give you the exacts on these payments. My weekly truck payment is $746. I could have gone with the variable payment where it's 35 cents a mile for all empty and loaded miles. But that would put my payments over $1,000 a week. And I'd be making no money at all then, even less than I am now. My workers' comp insurance is $35 a week. That's they call that your occupational accidental health insurance. So if you walk face first out of your cab and fall on your face and break your nose, or you slip climbing out of the trailer and break your leg, you're covered. My plates and permits is $37.40. Yeah, $37.40 a week. My bobtail insurance is $6.80 a week. So if I'm bobtailing around town, something happens, I'm covered. My physical damage insurance is $145 a week. That's truck and trailer. So when you go to get on the highway, you got that idiot that flies up behind you, blows around you on the left, and then cuts across in front of you to take the exit last second. Usually goes over the gore lines. And when they hit you, this is what covers you. Now your FUT, your Federal Heavy Vehicle Highway Use Tax. Not to be confused with IFTA or New York's tax program. New York, they call theirs FUT as well. I forget what their numbers are for it, or the letters are for it. The heavy use tax, heavy highway use tax, there's a number associated with it. I cannot for the life of me remember what that number is. It's like the 30.99 or something like that. I forget offhand. You guys know, if you're owner operators, you know the one I'm talking about. The one where you got to pay every month, the tax you got to pay to drive your vehicle down the highway. Then there's Best Pass, well, Pre-Pass rather. They charge it. Well, the FUT's $11 a week. Our Pre-Pass is $3.78 a week. Now keep in mind, I don't even have Pre-Pass. I have Best Pass, and we don't even use that. Everything goes through the tablet. Hold on, turn this pig on. Goes through our tablet through the GeoTab app. This is how we track our miles. Why did that just come up? I don't need that screen. Did I validate my logs today, by the way? Yeah. And this thing was so slow to respond. Yeah, I did verify. Okay, good. Everything comes through the DriveWise app. Like I said, I have Best Pass on here. At no time have I ever gone past the scale house and I had either the red light or the green light on that. At no time have I gone through a toll booth. I don't care if it's Texas Pass, iPass, Pike Pass, NorPass, K-Tag, Pre-Pass, Best Pass, any of them. Has never gone off on that. The yellow light hasn't flashed to tell me that I just got charged the toll. I do get the toll messages will pop up on the screen that says toll paid when I got the little indicator screens there at some of the places. But yeah, they're charging us $3.78 for a device we don't even have. Everything comes through the ELD, which is the ELD charges $15 a week. That's to rent the tablet and for the internet access to it. Then we have two different escrow accounts. We have our security deposit. They take that out $75 a week, up to $750 maximum, so I got another 2 weeks to go on that. Then I'll stop taking that $75. Then I have my maintenance escrow account. They charge us $250 for 12 weeks, totaling out at $3,000. Well, the way their maintenance schedule is set up, every 8 weeks you're in doing. Alright, sorry about that, guys. So damn hot in this truck, I just had to jump out and vomit real quick. Got sick. Anyways, like I was trying to say, the maintenance program in here, they got it set basically every 8 weeks you're going in for maintenance. Now this truck right now is past due for oil change. I got to do all my oil change, all my fluids, all my filters. DPF filter needs to be sent out and be baked. It's past time to do that. I'm supposed to be up in Kansas City getting that done right now, but I got screwed. So yeah, you'll never get $3,000 put into your maintenance fund. Your maintenance escrow account, rather. Then we have two variables. Well, technically three. I'm only bothered by two of them, because I have a Freightliner, which has the OptiIdle in it, which those of you that don't know, you set it up, you turn it on, it monitors your truck's voltage. If it drops down below 12.3 volts, starts your truck up, runs it for about an hour, and lets you run your AC or your heat in the back off the truck's batteries to keep warm or cool. Right now I'm not running the truck. I don't have it on battery mode because I don't want it to start up, because I don't want the noise interfering with this for you guys. But the two, on that one, if you have a truck like one of the Internationals or the Kenworths that has an APU on it, you get charged an additional 25 cents a mile, empty and loaded, just to have an APU on your truck. They don't allow you to idle your trucks. They don't even allow you to put the truck into manual mode. They have manual mode disabled on these trucks. All the trucks are automatics. They refuse to turn it back on for me so I can use it, because I know how to use it. And the reason for this is there's too many drivers that use auto mode or manual mode, forget to switch it off, get down to the bottom of the grade, leave their transmission in 7th or 8th gear, get up the highway speeds, and then they're wondering why they're frying and blowing their transmission. It's because they never took it back out of manual mode. But yeah, they charge you 25 cents a mile on the APU. It's cheaper to idle the truck than it is to have the APU. And, 25 cents a mile, a couple hundred miles a week, it adds up quick. Burning a gallon of diesel an hour, so going through, say, maybe 10 gallons, around 10 gallons, maybe a little less diesel a night to stay cool, is still cheaper than having the APU. Now, my what the two maintenance I'm paying are 1.3 cents a mile towards IFTA, the fuel tax agreement, that little sticker on the side of your truck. And then I have an additional maintenance fund, 10 cents a mile, that goes into that. I've already paid $2,000 into that, but I'll never see that back. Now let's take a look at my paychecks. Now, they told me because I'm an owner-op, I would not get orientation pay. That was a lie. I did get paid $500 orientation pay on my first paycheck. They told me that my first paycheck would include my $13.25 plus fuel and variables. Now, they said before I even put a drop of fuel in the truck, or before I move it a millimeter, I owe them $1,324.98 every week. Then once I start moving, add variables to that, 11.3 cents a mile on variables. Add your fuel purchase to it. Now when it comes to fuel purchase, they have you restricted to either Pilot and Flying J or Loves only. If they want you, they keep saying they want you to go to Pilot Flying J, Pilot Flying J, Pilot Flying J. Only branded locations. You can't go to any of the sub-branded locations that they own, like 1.9, which I love 1.9, especially out there on the Navajo reservation, where it's usually almost $1 cheaper than anywhere else. You can't go to like Town Pump, Mr. Pump, Road Ranger, 1.9, like I said that already, and any of the other number of sub brands they have. Bosselman's another one you can't go to. Well, you go to one of the brands, they knock off 12 cents a mile. If you go to a Love's, which is the only other place you can get fuel at, they knock off 7 cents a mile. They give you a 7 cent a mile discount at Love's, 12 cent a mile discount at Pilot and Flying J's. But when you use your fuel card, you get charged a large percentage of your fuel purchase. I've been noticing extra charges on my settlements, and I asked them about it. Oh yeah, no, that's the fee for using the your fuel card. Really? Nobody said anything about having to pay any fees for using the fuel card. So that's more money they're taking out of your pocket. So I did get that. There's a $5,000 sign-on bonus. They call it a transition bonus. It's paid out $317 a week. They said I wouldn't see my first payment on that until the second week, and I wouldn't. But on the first week, I'd be making my truck payments and everything. So that was a lie. I actually got that on the first week, and I shouldn't have got it to the second week. I got charged my truck payments on the first week. Shouldn't have been charged that into the second week. Anyways, I was expecting my paycheck to be $172 between fuel purchases, not having any loads. Now, what surprised me is, and I was at the end of the week when I started that, my paycheck actually ended up being $2,157, a difference of $2,025 more than I was expecting. I'm like, okay, this is going to be nice. If it's going to work out like this, I'm cool. Then I start looking at it and realized, okay, in that included was the one and only time I got layover pay, rather. I got my $500 orientation. I got $317 towards my sign-on bonus. I had that detention pay. I didn't have any truck payments or anything. That's why I had a decent check that week. Week 2, this is when I figured out how they do the fuel charges, and they screw you on the fuel. I was expecting a paycheck of $429. My paycheck was actually negative $392. I owed them $392 that week. My paycheck was $821 under. For some of you saying, how's that possible? Well, you take the $392, add that to the $429 out of $392, brings it up to zero, and then you add the $429 on top of it. It's $821. On week number 3, I was expecting a paycheck of $1,512. My paycheck was $633, off $877. I got $877 less that week than I was expecting. Week number 4, I was expecting $1,305, got $454. Underpayment of $851. Starting to see a trend develop here, guys. I knew some of you were. Week number 5. I was expecting $1,601, got $971, off $630. I was short $630 that check. Now I keep asking, why are my checks off? Why are my checks off? Well, we don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with checks. I said, look, I have this formula I use. This spreadsheet I use. I've used it every single time I've done a lease since 2010, and I'm always within a $50 margin of error. Things change, fuel surcharges changes. I might end up having to buy extra fuel that week, or fuel price was a little higher than I was expected that week or something that raised up my expenses, my deductions. I went in and showed them the spreadsheet. Hold on one second, I'm going to grab it for you. Alright, sorry about that, guys. So damn hot in this truck, I just had to jump out and vomit real quick. Got sick. Anyways, like I was trying to say, the maintenance program in here, they got it set basically every 8 weeks you're going in for maintenance. Now this truck right now is past due for oil change. I got to do all my oil change, all my fluids, all my filters. DPF filter needs to be sent out and be baked. It's past time to do that. I'm supposed to be up in Kansas City getting that done right now, but I got screwed. So yeah, you'll never get $3,000 put into your maintenance fund. Your maintenance escrow account, rather. Then we have 2 variables. Well, technically 3. I'm only bothered by 2 of them, because I have a Freightliner which has the opti-idle in it, which those of you that don't know, you set it up, you turn it on, it monitors your truck's voltage. If it drops down below 12.3 volts, starts your truck up, runs it for about an hour, and lets you run your AC or your heat in the back off the truck's batteries to keep warm or cool. Right now I'm not running the truck. I don't have it on battery mode because I don't want it to start up, because I don't want the noise interfering with this for you guys. But the 2, on that one, if you have a truck like one of the Internationals or the Kenworths that has an APU on it, you get charged an additional 25 cents a mile, empty and loaded, just to have an APU on your truck. They don't allow you to idle your trucks. They don't even allow you to put the truck into manual mode. They have manual mode disabled on these trucks. All the trucks are automatics. They refuse to turn it back on for me so I can use it, because I know how to use it. And the reason for this is there's too many drivers that use auto mode or manual mode, forget to switch it off, get down to the bottom of the grade, leave their transmission in 7th or 8th gear, get up the highway speeds, and then they're wondering why they're frying and blowing their transmission. It's because they never took it back out of manual mode. But yeah, they charge you 25 cents a mile on the APU. It's cheaper to idle the truck than it is to have the APU. And, 25 cents a mile, a couple hundred miles a week, it adds up quick. Burning a gallon of diesel an hour, so going through, say, maybe 10 gallons, around 10 gallons, maybe a little less diesel a night to stay cool, is still cheaper than having the APU. Now, what the 2 maintenance I'm paying are 1.3 cents a mile towards IFTA, the fuel tax agreement, that little sticker on the side of your truck. And then I have an additional maintenance fund, 10 cents a mile, that goes into that. I've already paid $2,000 into that, but I'll never see that back. Now let's take a look at my paychecks. Now, they told me because I'm an owner-op, I would not get orientation pay. That was a lie. I did get paid $500 orientation pay on my first paycheck. They told me that my first paycheck would include my $13.25 plus fuel and variables. Now they said before I even put a drop of fuel in the truck, or if I move it a millimeter, I owe them $1,324.98 every week. Then once I start moving, add variables to that, 11.3 cents a mile on variables. Add your fuel purchase to it. Now when it comes to fuel purchase, they have you restricted to either Pilot and Flying J or Love's only. If they keep saying they want you to go to Pilot Flying J, Pilot Flying J, Pilot Flying J, only branded locations. You can't go to any of the sub-branded locations that they own, like 1.9, which I love 1.9, especially out there on the Navajo Reservation, where it's usually almost $1 cheaper than anywhere else. You can't go to like Town Pump, Mr. Pump, Road Ranger, um, 1.9, like I said that already, and any of the other number of sub brands they have. Bosselman's another one you can't go to. Well, you go to one of the brands, they knock off 12 cents a mile. If you go to a Love's, which is the only other place you can get fuel at, they knock off 7 cents a mile. They give you a 7 cent a mile discount at Love's, 12 cent a mile discount at Pilot and Flying J's. But when you use your fuel card, you get charged a large percentage of your fuel purchase. I've been noticing extra charges on my settlements, and I asked them about it. So yeah, no, that's the fee for using the your fuel card. Really? Nobody said anything about having to pay any fees for using the fuel card. So that's more money they're taking out of your pocket. So I did get both. I did get that. There's a $5,000 sign-on bonus. They call it a transition bonus. It's paid out $317 a week. They said I wouldn't see my first payment on that until the second week, and I wouldn't. But on the first week, I'd be making my truck payments and everything. So that was a lie. I actually got that on the first week, and I shouldn't have got it to the second week. I got charged my truck payments on the first week. Shouldn't have been charged that into the second week. Anyways, I was expecting my paycheck to be $172 between fuel purchases, not having any loads. Now, what surprised me is, and I was at the end of the week when I started that, my paycheck actually ended up being $2,157, a difference of $2,025 more than I was expecting. I'm like, okay, this is going to be nice. If it's going to work out like this, I'm cool. Then I start looking at it and realized, okay, in that included was the one and only time I got layover pay rather. I got my $500 orientation. I got $317 towards my sign-on bonus. I had that detention pay. I didn't have any truck payments or anything. That's why I had a decent check that week. Week 2, this is when I figured out how they do the fuel charges, and they screw you on the fuel. I was expecting a paycheck of $429. My paycheck was actually negative $392. I owed them $392 that week. My paycheck was $821 under. For some of you saying, how's that possible? Well, you take the $392, add that up, to add that to the $429 out of $392 brings it up to $0, and then you add the $429 on top of it. It's $821. On week number 3, I was expecting a paycheck of $1,512. My paycheck was $633, off $877. I got $877 less that week than I was expecting. Week number 4, I was expecting $1,305. Got $454. Underpayment of $851. Starting to see a trend develop here, guys. I knew some of you were. Week number 5, I was expecting $1,601. Got $971. Off $630. I was short $630 that check. Now I keep asking, why are my checks off? Why are my checks off? Well, we don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with checks. I said, look, I have this formula I use. This spreadsheet I use. I've used it every single time I've done a lease since 2010, and I'm always within a $50 margin of error. Things change, fuel surcharges changes. I might end up having to buy extra fuel that week, or fuel price was a little higher than I was expected that week or something that raised up my expenses, my deductions. I went in and showed them the spreadsheet. Hold on one second, I'm going to grab it for you. Actually, I'll just put a picture on the screen there for you to look at, because it's still too bright and it's whiting out the screen when I hold up anything white in front of you. But explain to them, look, this is the way this thing's set up. They're like, well, we don't know what you're talking about. We haven't seen your spreadsheet. We don't know how it works. We don't know how your formula works. So fine, I'll show it to you. On the week number 6, I was there in town. I took it in and showed it to them. Showed it to my dispatcher, my DM. Then we went over and showed it to payroll. Payroll's like, well, we don't understand how this works, and I broke it down for them. So they went, looked at the loads that I had on that sheet. They pulled them out of the computer, matched everything up. All my numbers were exactly what they had, but the computer came up with a different number than I had. So I did the math for them, showed them how I do the math on it, and my math worked out. The computer, nope, we got to go by what the computer says. This is what the computer says. Well, the computer's wrong. The computer's an idiot. The computer must be using that damn new math. Anyways, the way it's set up is column 1 is the date that I pick up the load. The next column is the city I start in. Next column is the city that I end in, which coincidentally is the city I start in on the next trip. Then I have my empty miles, then my loaded miles, and then total sideways. And then I also total them down the column. So I had my empty miles, this column, my loaded miles, this column. I add empty miles to the loaded miles for that load. It's in this column. And then I add all my empty miles down here to the bottom, all my loaded miles down here to the bottom. Then I add those two numbers up. And that total should match what's in the column for each week. As long as those match up, I know I didn't do something wrong. Then I have my current rate, which is $1.22 a mile. Then I have whatever the current fuel surcharge is. Then I have my fuel purchase, my DEF purchase. Next column is my fixed expenses. Then my variable expenses. So whatever my, so I'll turn around, I'll take the total, I'll add my empty plus my loaded, I'll multiply that by whatever my rate is for the week. That'll give me my gross payment for the week. Then I'll go over, if I buy fuel, I'll put that in that column. If I buy DEF, put that in that column. I'll take my total miles for the week, multiply it by 11.3, my variables, and that'll tell me what I owe for the variables. I add that down. I bring down my DEF purchases for the week, my fuel purchases for the week, my gross totals for the week. Add all my gross totals up, get a sub-gross. To that, I add $317, which is the payment towards my sign-on bonus, and that gives me my gross pay for the week. Then I come over to the next line, I add up all of my fuel purchases, all my DEF purchases, add in my fixed rate, add in all of my variables, total those out, divide that, or rather subtract that from the gross total. That gives me my net total, what I should get in that paycheck. And I'm always within $50. Now, week 6, the week that I showed them this thing and they were interested in it and they wanted to keep a copy of it, I was expecting a paycheck of $1,071. Got a paycheck of $1,045, off $26. Well within my margin of errors. The week that they had the thing, lo and behold, I get a proper check. Week number 7, I had a decent week that week. I was expecting a check of $2,051. Only got a check of $1,393, negative $658. I was paid $658 less than I was expecting. Then week number 8, the week I just got my settlement on earlier today. I was expecting $1,021. My pay was actually $325. I'm off at $696. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. I don't know how I can be off that much every single week. Now, as I told you guys, the way they charge you for the fuel, I've gone in and doing line items because I do a spreadsheet for every week and I got my settlements for every week. I'm doing line items on them and I'm fighting with them to get some of the money they owe me. There's some weeks there where I got fuel Tuesday or Wednesday morning on my way to pick up a new load, got the fuel charge rolled back to the previous week and charged that week, and then charged again when they paid me the load, so they double charged me on those fuel purchases. I've got quite a few there where I was my paid dispatch and loaded miles in the dispatch did not match what I was paid, so I'm trying to get those under my one load was 180 miles off. Never got paid for any of my detention pay, never got paid any of my layover pay. I haven't had any breakdowns. Well, I've had breakdowns, but not something where I'd end up getting paid for. So I don't know. Anyways, let me back up here a little bit. When I was talking earlier about when they had me up here and he was yelling at me about arguing with the billing department. Other thing he yelled at me and he goes, "Oh, by the way, why'd you move the truck?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You were supposed to stay at that truck stop." So they called me up at 2:30 in the morning and said, "Do this load so it wouldn't be late." He's like, "You're on a hold. You weren't supposed to go anywhere." I said, "What are you talking about, a hold? I'm not on any hold." He goes, "Yes, you are." So that's news to me. What the hell am I on hold for? "Oh, because your license is expired." "No, it's not. My license don't expire until 2030. Here, took a picture of it and sent it to him. I said, "See, my license don't expire until 2030. He's like, "Oh, well, they must have had you confused with another driver. Hold on, let me get this taken off for you." I get a phone call a little while later from somebody in compliance, one of the managers. "Well, it's not that your license is expired. It's just that you've been here 30 days now and you haven't transferred it over to Texas like you're required to." I'm like, no. Texas is 90 days. You have to transfer your license over by Texas state law. I said, "Number 2, talk to my recruiter. Here's her name. Go back and listen to the voice, our telephone conversations if you want. Took a little while to get me in here because I'm licensed out of Alaska. I live in Alaska. Um, she ended up going and getting authorization from the owners for me to come into the company with an Alaska driver's license, with the understanding at the end of the summer, when I save up enough money to get an apartment down here in the Dallas area, that I will transfer my license at that time. She's like, oh, well, that wasn't noted. Hold on a minute. I'm going to go talk to your recruiter. She went over to talk to the recruiter. A few minutes later, she come back. She goes, yeah, we played the message. Yeah, you're right. You're all set. Don't worry about it. Sorry, it just wasn't noted on our end. So we didn't know what was going on, but now you're good to go. Said, so I can start rolling in again, and the hold's off. Yep. Am I going to put on hold again? No, you're all set. Don't worry about it. You're good. It's taken care of. Alrighty then. Away I go. Next day, I shut down and take my 10-hour break. Halfway through it, there's a knock at the door. Another driver there to take over my load. Why? I don't know. They just told me to come get it. This load's not due for 2 days, and I'm only got 6-hour drive to get there. I'm not going to be late. I don't know what's going on. So I called over. Like, oh, because you're on hold. I'm not on hold. They just took that off of me yesterday. Well, they put it back on today. Call my DM. DM's like, oh, you got to talk to so-and-so. I thought you guys cleared this up yesterday. I said, so did I. Couldn't get the woman on the phone. Left her voicemail. Time went by, didn't hear from her, so I emailed her. Finally get a phone call. First word she says is, I don't know how you got hired with a foreign license. Excuse me? She goes, I don't know how you got hired with a foreign license. We don't hire foreign drivers. I'm like, well, I'm not a foreign driver. It's not a foreign license. She goes, yes, it is. I said, no, Alaska's a U.S. state. In fact, it's the 49th state. Oh, don't give me that. It's a foreign license. Besides that, I can't get you insured because we don't operate in that country. I said, number one, it's not a country. It's a state. Number two, it's a U.S. license. Number three, don't give me that. You can't get me insured BS because number one, the truck, the insurance is based on where the truck's registered out of, not where the driver's out of. Or you'd never be able to get anything registered or insured. So number two, RTI is a self-insure. You are the insurance company, so don't tell me you can't get me insured. Well, you were supposed to have transferred that over. And I went through it all with her and explained to the other person. She goes, yeah, that other person you talked to earlier didn't know what they were talking about. I never would approve this. I said, it came from the owners of the company. Talk to my recruiter. She'll tell you. She'll play the audio of our telephone conversation where she told me that. I don't care. I'm not doing that. I don't care who said it. I'm the VP of risk management for the company. I never would have approved this or agreed to it. You got 48 hours. You got 2 days to transfer your license over right now. That's why we gave you that load to Texas. That's why we pulled you off the other load so you could get that done. Okay, nobody said anything to me about it. I'm sitting there talking to you. I'll jump online to the Texas DMV website. I'm like, oh, hold on a minute. We've got a couple problems here with issues with that. So what? I said, well, first off, right here on the DMV website, they do not accept walk-ins. I can only do CDL transactions at their mega centers and appointment only, no walk-ins. But this is what I'm going to do for you, the little snowflake. I am going to, little millennial here that don't know how to read a map, I'm going to go over to the UPS store. I will get a UPS mailbox. So I have a physical mailing address. Then I'm going to, rather a physical address. Then I'm going to have to go to my banks, update my mailing information so that my statements will come here next month. Because right now I don't have proof of residency. Bank statements work for that. So next month they will mail the statements in the beginning of the month so I can go get my license over. But as it is right now, I can't do that. I'm looking at the scheduling, trying to schedule something right now. And the soonest appointment I can see is October. Everything's appointment only. Because it's CDL, I got to go to a mega center. Well, the soonest appointment they have is October. Here's a screenshot of it. I just emailed it to you so you can see I'm not blowing smoke. We're not talking about unicorns and rainbows here. I'm talking about actual, tangible evidence. Here's a screenshot of the scheduling for there. I scheduled this appointment October 12th. That's as soon as I can get. I will come back then and take care of my license. Okay. But I'm going to do a little more research on this anyways. Knock yourself out. Hangs up. About 45 minutes later, I get a dispatch. So good, I'm rolling again. I can make money again finally. Get out here, start running around. I don't know why that's waiting out. Let me change the exposure. There we go. And Get going again. The next day I get a message from her. Oh, I found a sooner appointment for you over in Louisville. It's going to be on May the 2nd at noon. But I got an appointment scheduled at the Mega Center. Well, no, I changed it. You what? You went in and changed, logged in, put my information in there, changed my appointment without my authority or my authorization or even telling me you were going to do that. Canceled my other appointment, gave me this new appointment. Where's it at? I look up the address. I said, that, I cannot go to that place. Why not? It's a DMV. What's it say at the bottom? No CDL transactions conducted at this location. That means you just you just blew my friggin' appointment for October. She's like, oh crap, I didn't see that. I told you that CDLs can only be done at mega centers. I'll get back to you. That evening, I get a message from her. Hey, I found another place for you to go get your license. You can go out, and this is a mega center, out to Laredo. Wait, what? Laredo? No, I'm not going all the way to freaking Laredo. Well, that's where I was supposed to go. I ended up able to reschedule it myself. She had that set for June 3rd. Well, I rescheduled and I seen a cancellation for yesterday, the 22nd, May 22nd. So I said, look, I got one in, there was a cancellation. I got on for May 22nd in Dallas. I'm going there. The plan was they need to give me the 3,000 miles a week they promised me. I was to go on the 20th, drive up to Kansas City, put my truck in the shop on the 21st so I can get all the work that needs to be done on it, get the DPF filter taken care of, which takes a couple days. They got to send it out, get it baked, and bring it back. It's 4 or 5 days. I was going to rent a car, drive down here to Dallas, transfer my license over, spend the night, then drive back on the 23rd, hopefully be back in my truck on the 24th. They're counting that all as home time. That didn't happen. My paychecks got even smaller. My mileage shrank even more, and I went to sitting almost a full day between pickups and deliveries. So that went out the window, not making any money. So he gives me a load on the 20th. He gives me a load to Olaf, Kansas. I'm like, that's the wrong way. I need to get to Dallas. Oh, no, oh, that's right, that's right, that's right. Even though I've reminded him several times and even earlier that day that I needed to get down here. He's like, okay, hold on a minute. Let me get back to you. Okay, this is what we're going to do. You're going to bring that load here to the yard and drop it off in Kansas City at Diekman. Then you're going to go over to Olaf and pick up another load because you're going to be a day early on that load coming into here. You're going to drop it off here. You're going to go over Olaf, pick up a load that delivers down in Lancaster, which is just outside of Dallas. That delivers on the morning of the 22nd. Delivers at 7 a.m. Your appointment's at 2 a.m. Or 2 p.m. rather, so you're good. You should make that no problem. Well, coming down, I had a blowout. The worst blowout I've ever had. Now, in 15 years of driving, I've never had to run a load with my tandems all the way to the rear. They loaded me at this place so screwed up, and their scales were, on-site scale was totally off. 15,700 pounds off. I scaled out on their loads and said, you know, I'm going to stop over here at the cash scales and scale anyways, just to make sure. And I am glad I did. I had 9,000 on my steers, which I couldn't figure out how that was. 9,900 on steers, 28,090 on my drives, 22,450 on my tandems, for a total of 60,440 pounds. I'm like, that's not right. I mean, there's no way in hell that's right, especially since the load showed 43,000 pounds. So I go up the road to the Pilot Flying J. Oh my God, was that off. 37,100 pounds on my tandems alone. Just to scale legal, 33,760 pounds on my tandems and 33,100 pounds on my drives and 10,900 on my steers. Had to have my tandems all the way to the rear. Thankfully, I wasn't going to an area where there's a bridge law limit like California. So I ran it down Friggin' entire. Now, this trailer just did DOT inspection the other day. Has brand new tires on it. Brand new 8 tires. Going down the road, inner tire on that side blows out. It had tread separation. The cap came off, got wrapped around the axle, and bunched up inside the hub over here on the Indian Nation Turnpike. So I get pulled over, check it. I'm like, crap. I walk back up the street looking for my alligators, get them out of the road so it wouldn't damage anybody's vehicles. Didn't see it anywhere, so I'm okay, well, got thrown off into the off the side of the road. Good. I ended up having to drive 5 miles up, turn around, and come 5 miles back to go to the rest area, the oasis in the middle. I just went past it when the tire blew. I thought about backing up, but it would have been put me around a blind curve, and I wasn't about to do that. So I get turned around, I get over there, get shut down, call it in. It took them 5 hours to get somebody out there to change the tire. Because I'm out on the Indian Nation's Turnpike. Nobody anywhere near for services that are authorized to work on the Indian on the reservation. Lives out in Oklahoma. Kid finally shows up. Brand new tire tech. 6 hours to change my tire. He didn't have the right tools. Didn't know what the hell he was doing. He was afraid to raise the axle up enough to where there was any clearance at all between the tire and the ground. So he's got the tire touching the ground, trying to work it off. Took him a while to get the tire off. Then he's looking around trying to figure out what's going on. He said, oh, you need a mud flap. I said, yeah, I know. I told him that. The mud flap hanger's pulled up over the tires and the mud flap's destroyed, which happens all the time when trailer tires go out. Said, he's looking at it and he's like, well, something don't look right about this tire. He leans over the inside of the tire looking at it, and that's when I realized that the cap had came off and was wrapped around the axle on the side of the drum. So he's sitting out there for hours with cutting wheels, burning through over a dozen cutting wheels on a cutoff grinder, trying to cut the tire out. I kept telling him, look, dude, let me release the trailer brakes, then we'll pull the drum off and give you room to get it untangled and get it out of there. Oh, no, I'm not allowed to do that. I'm on a tire tech. I can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. I said, well, let me release the brakes so you can rotate the wheel to make it easier. No, I'm not doing that. No. Brakes have to be set. Regulations, brakes have to be set. He had to hold my keys, and I had to stand outside the back of the trailer the whole time he was working on it. He called his supervisor. He's got a supervisor on speakerphone. So have the driver release the brakes so you can spin the drum. I said, I told him that. I even offered to take the drum off to make it easier. He goes, well, that's always an option too. Well, I can't do that. I'm only a technician. I don't know how to do that. So I released the brakes for him. He goes over. Now I got permission to get the keys back from him, open up the truck, and release the brakes. He's still up there with the friggin' cutting wheels, burning through all these damn discs trying to get it off. I'm like, look, dude, give me a friggin' spoon. I grabbed it, stuck it in there. I started turning the... I got tired of him. I said, get out of the way. I'm doing it. Got in there with the spoons, put it in between the lugs, started spinning the drum, rolled it backwards, and all of that just unfolded and fell right out. I'm like, see, dude, if you'd only listened to me to begin with, we wouldn't be here 5 hours later. Took him another 40 minutes just to try and figure out how to pull the mud flap hanger out because his come-along was broken. And he didn't want to take one of the recovery chains, wrap it around, connect it to the front of his truck, and back up a little bit to pull it out, which most of the drivers do. Oh, I can't do that. That's illegal. Well, no, it's not illegal. Oh, I thought it was... No, it's not illegal. Well, I'm not doing it. I don't want to get caught on the camera in the truck. Well, whatever, dude. I mean, every other freaking technician does it. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting in trouble for it. So we ended up, the two of us together, ended up with pipe wrenches on it, pulling and twisting and pulling on it, and we finally got it back. And it took him another hour just to mount the new tire onto the rim. Put it all back on, and he thought he put it on wrong. So he took everything back off and then put it back on again. So now my load's late. I would have had that load delivered early, like 6 hours early. But no, I ended up delivering it this morning a day and a half late because of that kid, because of the blowout. When I get down here to our yard here in town, here just outside Dallas, was it Lawrence? Pull in here, do my post trip, and I noticed another one of the tires I got tread separation on. I'll show you a picture of the tire wrapped around the axle and the hub. Yep, that's what he couldn't figure out how to undo. That mess. And what a mess that was. Wow. But yeah, I got it done. I got it done in under 5 minutes. I had it undone. He spent hours trying to do it. So his boss is like, yeah, make sure you document everything and note why there's so much labor in it, why it's taking so long. You're spending your entire shift on one service call. So I said, he needs a note in there why he didn't listen to the driver when he told him what to do, and the driver had it undone in under 5 minutes doing it himself because he got tired of waiting. I was like, who's that? I said, it's the driver. He's like, oh, you did it yourself? I said, damn right, I got tired of waiting. He wouldn't listen. He wouldn't follow directions. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for showing him how to do it. I said, yeah, but he ain't going to remember. He only wants to do things by the book. Sometimes you got to go outside the book. He goes, that's right. But yeah, I turned around and now I'm sitting here. I went over yesterday to transfer my license over. Brought my load down here, put it in the drop yard, ran over to DMV to transfer my license over. Couldn't do it yesterday because one of the bank statements that I brought, my printer, I'm out of color ink, so it didn't print the bank logo on it. It had my address, my bank account information, everything else on it, but it just didn't have the bank logo and the bank information at the top of it because that's in color on the printer, on the form. So it didn't print. I didn't realize it when I took it. I just pulled it out of the printer, threw it in the envelope with everything, and went over there. Well, because of that, they rejected my friggin' application yesterday because I didn't have 2 proofs of identity, or 2 proofs of residency. So I said, okay, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, jump online, schedule a same-day appointment. Since you were here today, you'll be able to schedule for tomorrow for follow-up. So I get on there at 6:55 this morning, wait until 8 o'clock, keep refreshing, trying to friggin' get the same day. Couldn't get it to come up. No matter what I was doing, the center I needed to go to wasn't even coming up. So I finally gave up, told dispatch what was going on. I said, look, I got to go deliver this load. Then I'll be back and see if you can't find me. So I'll have to try this again tomorrow morning because I just realized I screwed up. I was looking at the wrong scheduling page. When I rolled back to the sign-on page to bookmark it, I realized, oh crap, I was in the wrong scheduling window. That's why I couldn't find it. So I got to do it again tomorrow morning, hopefully. Get back here to the yard, drop off. I said, is there any local work I can do? I know we got loads here that need to be shuttled. I mean, I can go preload some of these trailers here for the garage door company and bring them back and put them on the yard for save the next driver. Oh, no, you're on hold. We can't do that. You can't do that. You can't move the truck, period. Oh, really, asshole? Watch this. Got today's paycheck, and that's it. I'm done. I am done with this $325 paycheck. All my bills are falling behind. I was out of work for a month before I came here. Every single week, my bank account is overdrawn. My check's $325. My bank account right now is $282 overdrawn. So I don't have a paycheck this week. Big surprise there. My credit cards are maxed out because I've been trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, which severely damaged my credit. I finally, as you guys know, as a victim ID theft, finally got my score up to 687. At one point, I was up to 714, and then I dropped. I'm back up to 687. I was. Then I started working here, not getting paychecks, maxing out my credit cards, trying to survive. And when you use more than 30% of your available credit, it severely and drastically affects your credit rating, your credit score. So I'm screwed right there. And then since I've been down here, I had an issue with my landlord that caused my vehicle to be repossessed. And I didn't even know it. Now he knows. I told him, look, I'm a truck driver. Sometimes I'll be out of town for 3 or 4 months at a time. I'm paying my rent. I'm going to keep renter's insurance and everything on the property. Well, as you guys know, I was trying to close the apartment out before I came to work here. Didn't get a chance. I ran out of time because I was notified of the change last minute. I was happy about it, but now I'm kicking myself in the ass. So I still have a bunch of stuff in my apartment up there I got to move to storage. Well, the landlord, they bought the property, the apartment building in October. I moved in January. My vehicle is identified on my rent agreement. It's on my apartment registration. Has make, model, year, color, license plate number, and it was legally parked in my assigned parking space. We have a bunch of vehicles that were either abandoned by previous tenants or stolen cars that have been dumped in our lot a lot. There are cars in with 4 flat tires, partially stripped, broken windows, no ignitions in them. Cops won't do anything because it's on private property. So they had to wait until some of the snow melted down. Now, I come out here in, what, May? March, I'm sorry, March. And started working. Well, they're telling me they sent notices out in April that they're going to be towing cars. Never received any notices from it. They said they've sent several notices out. So the only freaking notice I've ever received from you guys is by text, and that was that the snowplows were coming, that we needed to move our cars so they can get into the lot. We've all been complaining about this abandoned and junk cars. 32 units in the apartment complex. There's only 40 parking spaces, and a third of them are taken up by junk cars that don't belong there. No registrations on them, wrecks, partially stripped, flat tires, broken windows, cars that have obviously been sitting there forever. Well, they finally decided to move those cars. When they were doing it, they went down, put tags on all the cars they thought didn't belong there. They sent a mass email out to everybody. A week later, they put another set of tags on, sent another mass email out to everybody with pictures of the vehicles involved. Never received any of them. Well, my car got towed. Had no damn clue. Well, I guess it was in April they finally got around to towing them. Sat there at the tow yard. It was either end of March, beginning of April. Sent it to the tow yard. Of course, the tow yard, they got to do their due diligence. They got to do a title search, find out who owns the vehicles, send letters, notices to not only the last registered owner, but any lien holder that might be on there, saying, hey, this car has been here for X amount of days. If the towing and storage isn't paid for, we're going to seize it and auction it off to pay for our towing and storage fees. Bank got the notice. Apparently they got it April, I think they said April 22nd or 23rd. They did not reach out to me to say, hey, what's going on? Why is your car an impound? You need to pick it up so we don't lose our interest in it. Because if it doesn't get picked up by the purchaser, they got to go pick it up, or they lose the money that's in the owed on the car. They lose the interest. They lose the car altogether. They lose title and interest in it. So instead of getting a hold of me to say, hey, what's going on? We can go get this. Was it in an accident? Did it break down? What's going on with it? Why has it been sitting in an impound so long? They just went on May 2nd and picked it up. Now, I guess paperwork sat there for a few days before they finally got through it and read it and seen what was going on. Didn't bother to email me, call, text, nothing. They just went and picked it up. Now, they picked it up on the 2nd. Now, I already made April's payment. I got in line to make May's payment, and when I refreshed the screen to make sure, well, I should say June's payment, because I'm paying ahead 1 month. In case something happened out here and I didn't have my money to pay my car payment, I'd be 1 month ahead, so I wouldn't have to worry about it. Refresh the screen, message pops up, you have an important message. So I click on that link to see what the important message is. Your 2010 Chevy Silverado 1500 crew cab has been repossessed. What? What the hell are you talking about? So I call them up. Get transferred right to the repossessions department. This is so-and-so. How can I help you? What's your name? What's your VIN number of your vehicle? I give you, well, yeah, we just repossessed this. But why? She says, what do you mean why? I says, I just found out about it this morning when I made next month's payment on it. She says, what do you mean next month's payment? I said, yeah, I pay a month ahead. I keep it ahead in case something happens. I said, and I got this message pop up saying it was repossessed. What's going on? Why was it repossessed? I have the proper insurance. I have it registered. In fact, I just renewed it in February. The registration doesn't expire until March 2026. I have full coverage insurance on it like I'm required. And yes, guys, they will repossess the car for not having full coverage insurance. Lots of people get out there, buy a car, put full coverage insurance on it, pull it off the lot, either totally lapse their insurance, or they just reduce it to the state minimums, or cancel it altogether and drive around with no protection. They wreck the car, they just walk away from it, leave the bank holding the bag, and they just ignore their responsibilities. So yes, a bank will pick up your car for no insurance or not having full coverage insurance. Remember when you set up your insurance and one of the questions they ask you is, you own the car, or are you leasing the car, or are you purchasing the car? Well, if you say you're leasing or purchasing the car, well, who are you leasing and purchasing it from? You put that information in there. That makes them the lien holder. They get paid before you do if something happens to the car, to settle the contract or to settle the debt. Anytime any changes whatsoever are made on your car insurance, as a certificate holder, they get notified and they'll come right out and pick it up. Now, I've done repossessions in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, Michigan, Arizona, and Nevada. And I've done a lot of repossessions for this very same bank. They're a subprime lender, I hate to say. The only reason I wound up with them is because, well, you know, I was victim of ID theft. My credit's trash. Right now, my score's down to the low of the mid 500s. And next month, when my next credit report comes out, it'll be low 500s, if not in the high 400s, because of this repossession. And it's a wrongful repossession. I was talking to her, she was looking at it, her attitude started to change, and she's like, well, wait a minute. She goes, let me review your whole count here. She goes back to the beginning, she's looking at all my payments. She goes, yeah, that's on time, that's on time, that's on time. You made a deposit twice of what we asked for, so that was good. This is on time, this is on time, this is on. You made a double payment in January, and you've been paying every month since, so you're a month ahead. And you said something about the insurance. I said, yeah, my insurance is current, and it's full coverage. Feel free to call them and ask. And she did. She had me on the phone, conference call. She called the insurance company, and I had to give my okay for them to talk to her. And they said, yeah, he's got full coverage insurance. No lapses ever on the policy, and everything looks good. You guys are lien holder, verified all the information. I said, okay, thank you. And she's like, I cannot for the life of me figure out why we would have picked this up. Something's wrong here. So I'm missing something, or somebody screwed up somewhere. I'm going to go talk to the manager. Okay? About 10 minutes later, she comes back. She's on speakerphone with her manager, standing over her shoulder, looking at the screen, reading everything on the screen. And even the manager's like, I don't get it. Why the hell would we pick this guy's car up? Somebody screwed up big time somewhere. We got to figure this out fast. And then a couple of minutes later, she's like, oh, hold on a minute. What's that tab right there in the top right corner? It says A-band. Click on that. Clicks on the A-band tab, and now it makes sense. They towed the car because it was abandoned in a tow yard. I said, what the hell is it doing abandoned in a tow yard? It was at my apartment complex. I'm on the road. I'm out of town. I've been out of town for the last few weeks. There's no reason for it to have been towed. It was at my apartment in my assigned parking space. What company towed it? And what's the repo company? So they gave me the name of the repo company and their number. They gave me the name of the tow company and that tow company's number. I call the tow company. Ask them what's going on. They're telling me you guys had my vehicle there. Why was it towed? Oh, it was abandoned, unauthorized parking, double parked. I'm like, well, what the hell? I'm out of town. I've been out of town for a while. Never got any of these notices on this. Where was it towed from? They gave me the address. I'm like, that's my freaking apartment. Now here I am thinking my car got stolen or something and dumped somewhere, and it was towed from my apartment. And no, it wasn't double parked. It was parked in between two cars in my assigned parking space. There's nothing wrong with it. Did you take pictures of the truck? She said, yeah, we took pictures of everything on PPIs. I'm like, good, look at those pictures. Tell me what kind of condition the truck's in. She said, oh, the truck's in great condition. Tires good, windows are good, there's no body damage or anything on it. I mean, they just towed it as an illegal park. She said, your plates are good that are on it. Everything. I'm like, well, what the hell's going on here? So they're checking around and found out. So I turned around and I said, well, who told you to tow it? And they told me, I said, well, I need to know the person's name. Well, we can't give you the person's name, privacy reasons. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. That's understandable. What company told you to tow it? And she turned around, she gave me the company name. I'm like, oh, okay. That's my landlord, all right? So let me get a hold of him and find out what's going on. Call over, talk to them. Like, well, we didn't know it was yours. Why didn't you answer the emails? Well, what emails? And that's when they told me they were sending out all these emails and all these messages on stuff, and I had no clue what the hell they were talking about. So I never seen them. I never received any of them. Common sense, I said, let me ask you this. If that was your car and you got that email, you'd call right away, wouldn't you? He goes, yeah. He goes, and why are you out of town so long? You know you got to tell us if we're going to be out of town for more than 7 days. I said, I did tell you. I talked to, I'm not going to mention the girl's name, but she said, I talked to her, told her what was going on, let her know I'd be out of town for a while. I said, remember when I talked to you before I even rented? I told you I'm a truck driver. Sometimes I go out on the road. I'm out 3 or 4 months at a time, and you said that wouldn't be a problem. Okay, vaguely. I don't know if he remembered or not. He just said, oh, vaguely, but I don't know if he actually remembered or not. So yeah, that's where I am right now. My car got impounded. Then it got repoed. It's a wrongful repossession because, well, I wasn't behind on any of my payments. I was meeting all my contractual obligations. It was improperly towed in error by my landlord. I'm like, dude, why didn't you go look at the list of residents and compare the vehicles and check the list? You would have seen I'm on there. I'm on that damn list that you had, that permit you had me to fill out to park it there. Well, you should answer the email. I never received the email. Well, let's check your email. He reads my email address off to him. I said, read that again. I said, no, you're off. You're missing a letter. That's not my email address. Oh, send me a screenshot of it. Yeah, see, you're missing a letter right there. There's an S at the end of that domain. You're missing the last S. Oh. Then, a little while later, they sent me another screenshot. Well, this is your right email address, right? Now, they use Tenant Cloud, which is a web-based portal where you fill out your application for rental, you make all your payments and everything through the web portal. And I'm like, well, there you go. See that right there? You just pulled that off Tenant Cloud, didn't you? Oh, no. This was in our system. No, dude. Don't give me that. I got the screenshot where you showed me earlier where the name was misspelled. And secondly, that right there is out of Tenant Cloud. No, it's not. I said, yes, it is. There's no way in hell you would have that image, that icon, that logo, that avatar next to my email address unless you pulled that off of Tenant Cloud. Because that's not in your computer. You don't have that logo. That logo is what I uploaded to my profile on Tenant Cloud. So I've been going back and forth with him for about a month now. Well, the car just got sold off at auction today. Now, they picked it up on the 22nd. They sold it on the 23rd, less than 30 days, so that's a problem right there in itself. I was talking to a couple of attorneys trying to figure out what I can do to go after my landlord for this. And they're like, well, wait a minute. How far behind were you on your payments? I'm not. I'm a month ahead. Here's my statements. And then they went and they added $3,815 to it for repossession fee. First is the towing and storage fee, which is what they had to pay at the tow yard. Then there was their repossession and towing fee. Then there's something that says repo repairs. What repairs? $1,000 for repairs? What repairs required $1,000 on that truck? There was nothing wrong with it. Oh, we need to have keys cut for it. No. Number one, it don't cost that much to cut a key. Number two, you have the key to it. It was in the lower portion of the center console was a spare key for that truck. I know, stupid to do that, but I did. Most people don't know about that lower console in there. Oh, yeah, you're right. We do have the key. But they're still charging you for it anyways because we had to send somebody out to cut a key. Talk to the repo company to find out about my property. And I asked them to look, once I get this release from this, before I called back to the bank, it was after I got off the phone with the tow company. I said, once I get this released from the bank, because this was repossessed in error, it was towed in error to begin with, and nobody contacted me because I'm out of town. What would you guys charge me to tow the car back over to my apartment complex and put it back where it belongs? Oh, we can't do that. We already delivered it to the auction. You just picked it up yesterday. Yeah, and this morning they had to take us to Copart. It's where? Copart? Anybody knows what Copart is? Copart is a auto dismantler. They sell junk cars and part cars, and they take parts off of cars and sell parts off of cars. When they move cars around, they use a big giant forklift, come either under the front, under the back, or under the side, pick the cars up to move them around. When they do that, they damage suspension, oil pans, transmission coolers, drive lines, fuel tanks, suspension. They do rocker panels. They do a lot of damage to the undercarriage of the truck. And I know somebody that works at Copart. I asked them to keep an eye on it for me. I said, what's going on with it? Or where's it at right now? What kind of condition is it in? Have they moved it with the forklifts? He's like, oh, yeah, of course. I'm like, great. He goes, which one? He goes, that is your truck. I thought that truck looked familiar. I'm like, yeah, well, how's it look? Well, it's damaged now from the forklifts, and they've already taken parts off of it. So now my truck's damaged and partially stripped. So I get talk to the bank. Called me again 3 days ago now. Well, this is your last chance to come up with $3,000 or $3,815, or we are auctioning the car off on the 23rd, which was today. I'm like, well, you can't auction it off. It was wrongful repossession. You'll be hearing from the attorneys. You'll be getting served with the intent to sue here soon. Well, it's not a wrongful repossession. Yes, it is. She said, no, it's not. I said, ma'am, listen to me. My account was current. I was doing everything I was supposed to do. Had insurance, registration, and my account is actually a month ahead. I'm current on everything. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. You repossessed it without cause. That is a wrongful repossession. Well, I'm not talking to you anymore about it. If you got a lawyer involved, so yeah, it's being auctioned off on the 23rd and she hung up on me. Filed a complaint with the CBFP, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. They sent a copy of the complaint over to them. I heard back from somebody, got an email back from the guy this morning. I told the CFP, look, I offered to ask them if they would take it through arbitration. They refused, which they're required by federal law to do on car purchases. I said, I asked them if they would be kind enough to record it as a voluntary, not an involuntary repossession, so it's not as hurtful to my credit. They refused. So the last thing I offered them was a mutual release, stating that, hey, I agree not to sue you for the wrongful repossession, and you agree not to sue me or come after me civilly, and to remove it from my credit bureaus, all 3 reports, so it's like it never happened. They, of course, refused that. Now, all of a sudden, they want to talk that I got the federal government involved in it. The CPFB and State of New York and I think 38 other states are suing this company now, the subprime lender called Credit Acceptance Corp. So we'll see what happens there. Now they want to talk that I got the federal government involved. And I've got attorneys involved. Now they want to talk. He hasn't called me, he just sent me an email. He's had every opportunity to call me. So I'm going to give them a call a little later on. Actually, it's too late to call them now. Crap. I have to call them tomorrow when I'm sitting around with my thumb up my ass and see what I can work out with them. Now, my landlord, last message I got from my landlord this morning on it was, look, man, they're friggin' auctioning my car off this morning. What the hell are we going to do about this? I mean, you screwed me. You hurt me bad here. Now I've got defamation from the bank because that's going to show up on my credit report as a repossession, which is going to make me look bad before all my creditors. I said, now I'm out of vehicle. I've already paid several $1,000s on it. I only owed another $13,000 on it. And I don't have a vehicle. We got to do something about this. Well, he wants me to file a claim with this insurance company. So I got to call his insurance company back tomorrow and talk to them. Don't know what I'm going to be able to work out with the insurance company. But regardless, I'm suing the landlord and I'm working towards suing the bank. Now with my paycheck today, $325, I don't have the money to pay my rent next month. Here it is the 23rd. I got one more paycheck before the end of the month so I can pay next month's rent. And I'm not going to have it. I am not going to have it. And I'm stuck down here in the lower 48, so I can't get up there to get my shit out of the apartment. I got a couple firearms up there still, and I got all my computers and my I got a bunch of stuff up there I need to get out yet. Some valuable stuff. I didn't want to put it in storage. I wanted to leave it in the apartment where it was a little safer. So I've been talking, I spent the day here talking to a few different trucking companies. I got a couple irons in the fire, so to speak. Although there was a company I ran into a couple weeks ago here on the on the road rather, called Maybach Group International. They're a fairly new trucking company. They've only been around 10 years, but they have a rent program. They have a lease program, a lease purchase program, a rent program, and then company drivers. Company drivers get 75 cents a mile. Lease purchase and renters get 75% of the line haul. Truck payments are anywhere from $650 to $950 depending on the make, model, year of the truck. They have a bunch of different trucks to choose from. Now, if you do lease or lease purchase, of course, you're going to be responsible for all the maintenance on the truck, oil changes, everything. Breakdowns, anything goes wrong with the truck, you're responsible for. Including like fuel, tolls, your permits, all that. Now, if you do the rent program, which is what I'm liking, your truck payments are the same, but at the end of the lease, you don't get the truck. You just move to another truck or buy that at fair market value, about $25,000, $30,000 if you want to keep it. It's a 3-year lease, but the only thing you're responsible for are tolls, which are easy to avoid, and your fuel. That's it. They're responsible for all the maintenance and repair on it. If it breaks down and you're on the road, you get put up in a hotel until they get it fixed, or you get a ride back to the terminal to get a new truck. They have two terminals. The main terminal is Alsip, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Alsip, Illinois, just outside of Chirac, or their secondary terminal is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They run all 48 contiguous states. They run up in a couple hundred miles into Canada. So I'm really looking at them. I've sent them all my information. They've already approved me. They're real happy that they want me. I asked them, can you send me over a couple of sample statements, just random statements from your drivers? It wasn't even 5 minutes. I had a bunch of statements. These guys are averaging between $6,500 and $8,500 gross after all their payments. I shouldn't say all their payments. It's $6,500 to $8,500 is their 75% of whatever the gross was on that line haul rate. Then they turn around and they got to pay all their other stuff out of, like the fuel, tolls, permits, everything, all the stuff that goes with truck payments. Unless you're a renter, then you're still getting 75%. You're paying the same thing for the truck payment, for the rent, and you're not paying any maintenance of the other stuff. So you make more money. These guys are averaging taking home $4,000 to $7,000 a week. I ran into a couple of drivers out there in the wild and spoke to them. I first found out about because I seen one on the back of their door when they're talking. Some companies put the information on the back of the door about hiring and what they have available. And I've seen the rent, so I went over to talk to the guy about it. I said, yeah, man. Because I came in as a company driver, decided to go rent. Because I was getting 75 cents a mile with a year's experience driving. Worked for them for about a year, then I decided to rent. I was thinking about going to lease, and I said, no, let me do rent first. He goes, dude, I'm taking thousands of dollars home every week. I'm happy as hell. I'm not going anywhere else. I wouldn't change anything else. Ran into a couple other drivers on the road. One of them was a company driver. 4 of the other ones were rent, and the 6th one I ran into was a lease driver. And even he's happy. He's making good money. He gets his own home time, gets to do what he wants. So, I'm leaning real close to them. Now they called me up the other day. You ready to come over yet? All I gotta do is say, yeah, I'm ready. Where do I go take my drug test? Go take the drug test, then head over there to Illinois for orientation. It's not even a day's orientation. Starts at 9 a.m. and by 4 p.m. you're in your truck. When you finalize it and they get you coming in, you tell them, okay, this is the type of truck I'm looking for. They got all the major brands. This is what I'm looking for, the type of equipment I'm looking for. They'll send you a few pictures of what they have available. You say, oh, I like the looks of that one. They will put your name on it, so nobody else can grab it, as long as you claim it first. Then you get down there to orientation, and you go over, you check the truck out. If it's not what it looked like in the photos, and the stats aren't lining up with what they're sending you on it, or something just doesn't feel right about it, and you don't want it, you don't have to take it. But you get first dibs at that truck. But then you look around the lot, ooh, that black one. Hey, is that one? Has anybody claimed that one yet? No, can I go look at that one? Go look at it, check it out. I want this one. Okay, you get this one. If you start this company and decide you want to switch over to lease, you tell your DM, hey, I want to switch over to lease, or I want to do rent. Okay, they'll email you over the contract, you sign it electronically, send it back, boom. Now your lease purchase or rent, you can go from rent to lease to lease purchase if you want. You can go from company to either one of them. It's just kind of hard to go backwards with it. A $3,000 balloon payment due at the end if you want the truck, if you're doing lease purchase. If you're doing rent, you have the option to buy it out at the end. If you're doing lease, you have an option to buy it out whether you want it or not. Hey, I want to take it, or no, I don't want to take it. So yeah, I'm looking real close at these guys. One of the guys I talked to said he broke down. He was down for almost, 9 or 10 days. They put him up in a hotel room the whole time, paid him $150 a day per diem so he could eat and relax, or he could have got a ride back to the terminal and switched to another truck. And he said, I just stayed there. I just stayed at the hotel, took the vacation. And once his truck got out of the shop, he went back in. He didn't know anything on that for the previous week's payment. The truck's in the shop. They didn't bill him for it, which was pretty damn cool, I thought. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on that and where I end up going. But yeah, I'm sweating like a $2 horn church here. My shirt is drenched. Guys, I'm going to get off here for now. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you ring that notification bell so you know when I upload new videos. Oh, as always, keep it between the ditches, keep the shiny side up, the rubber side down. I'll see you out there on the highways, and go Army, beat Navy.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.